One, we are on. Mr. By the Mile, welcome you guys to today's live stream with Lee Rhodes and yours truly, Mr. By the Mile. Today we're going to discuss, based on, since this is a live stream, it's going to be also based on your opinions of what we're looking at when it comes into trucking 2026, what the freight volume is going to be like for those of you that are running LTL like myself. We all know that LTL is subject to changes with economical, when it comes to economic factors, right? So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about if you are just starting out in trucking, is union going to be your best option? And as far as that goes, yes, Jurassic Park, yes, Ben. As far as that goes, what is going to be the best path for you, whether to go union or non-union? Okay, so starting with that one first, because I think, especially for those who've been listening to me for the past 6 years or so, well, discussing union though, only for the past like 4 years. You guys, I do get emails, comments, people trying to decide whether they should, in fact, get a union career or not. You need to understand you're going to be at the bottom of the board. So if you're young, 19, 20, 21, and you're getting into trucking, right? There's that 21-year-old thing to consider. But if you're 21 still living at home, definitely get yourself into a union career, right? Start from the bottom. Then once you have stability, as far as, you're certain you're not going to get laid off and all that's going well, then you can start looking at getting your own place. But if you're renting a place and you have debt and all that stuff going on, it really depends when it comes to union. In trucking, you're going to be very disappointed, right? You're not going to be able to keep up with your bills, okay? Especially starting at the bottom. You're going to be working odd hours of the day. So then health factors come into play too. So if you have like diabetes or you have any issues as far as that goes, more stress is going to be, that's going to impact your everyday living, right? Stress as a truck driver is very real. So with that comes your diet, right? Right now I'm sticking to a no processed foods diet, and I have felt 100% better because for the past couple of years I've been dealing with a lot of fatigue, waking up and then not feeling like I got rested, or after these 400 or 500 mile trips, getting out of the truck and feeling exhausted, like extremely exhausted, unable to stay up much longer after getting home. So with these changes I've made, I've flipped all of that around. So your diet is going to be a huge part of your success. And if you're working a union job and you're stressed out already about bills, you're going to be even more stressed out when it comes to your work schedule, family life, things like that. So if you're already dealing with health issues, that stress is going to play a huge factor in how long you're able to last here, right? Chances are you're most likely going to leave and go and work somewhere else, right? That's going to be more predictable and consistent and still be able to give you the paycheck it is that you're looking for. Now you're going to have to sacrifice the health care and the pension for it. But overall, your health is what's most important in the situation, right? So health is always the first thing that you're considering when stepping into any career, right? Any new career. Do your research. Don't get stuck doing research. There's people that stay stuck on YouTube just watching videos forever and never actually pulling the trigger on anything and staying stuck in the same cycle, and then developing a more and more toxic mindset as times go on. Usually people like that, they turn out to be people who get in comment sections and, you know, just spew a bunch of hate everywhere. So once you're actually busy and starting to do things, right, you start eating better, you're going to start feeling better. So you drivers out there that are getting super fatigued, change your diet, right? All the time we see a lot of these overweight truck drivers, and they're usually some of the most unhappiest people as well, right? I mean, you can see their faces when you go in and out of these truck stops. Then you go in the bathrooms, and for the over-the-road drivers that have to live on the road, these conditions are disgusting, right? And people are leaving their freaking muck everywhere. You know, we have a lot of these foreign drivers that I've seen that are washing their feet in the freaking sinks. Like, it's out of control at this point. You can't go into a truck stop without seeing that at least 2 to 3 times a week when you're on the road, right? Now, fortunately, now I'm not an over-the-road truck driver. I'm an LTL driver. And I can tell you, especially for Union and when Yellow was still around, those of you that were on the bottom as a road driver, a city driver, you were seeing a lot of layoffs, right? So there's that to consider, that, you know, that stress factor. But if you're a young man, you're living at home, Union is definitely the way that you want to go. And then if you're not, you know, you're strapped down by bills, maybe consider going over the road for a year or two, stacking your money and paying off all your bills, and then getting yourself a union career after that. But the nice thing about that too is you're thinking, man, you don't have to work 30, 40, 25 years to get a pension. Like, for example, here, the way our agreements work is when to retire, right? You could be 60 years old and retire, you know, within like eight years or so. Your age plus your years of service at the time of retirement, if they equal 80, well, then you get to retire with a full pension. So that's nice. The older you are, the less you have to work to retire and get your pension. So that's nice. The other thing is if you incur any injuries, right, that take you out to where you have to draw from Social Security, your pension will pay you out early. And then in the future, if a doctor says, hey, you know, this guy is okay to work again, you can go and get your same job back again, right? Apply and everything again and go back to work. And then later on, you can retire with that same pension without any hiccup in the amount that you would be able to draw for your pension. So even though you've been drawing your pension, that amount still increases as you come back to work when that doctor puts you back to work, right? For you to retire as if you had never left in the first place. So that's nice. There's a lot of good benefits for union drivers. So something for you guys to think about. I don't want to make this video too long. So with all that said, think about it, leave your comments. If you're a union worker, comment below with where you're at and kind of how your contracts work, you know. Talk about holidays, talk about your vacations, talk about, like, you know, injury situations. Like, for example, there's union contracts out there that when you're on workman's comp, the company still pays you your holiday pay while you're off. Sometimes that's either up to 6 months or up to even a year, right? There's some union companies that continue your health care for another few months when you're off for an injury, you know, things like that, whether it's work related or not work related. So having a contract in place as an employee, protecting the employee is that's one of the smartest things you can do. And having a pension to supplement your other retirement vehicles is always a good plan and the best course of action for when you're older, getting ready to retire. And then your diet. If you spend your trucking career eating like shit, don't expect to enjoy your retirement for very long. But if you're eating well, exercising, doing all the things you're supposed to be doing for your gut health, cardiovascular, you know, all that, your mental state of mind, you know, a lot of these things start with our gut. And if you don't make sure that you have a clean gut, it's going to impact everything else in your life significantly. So comment with your experiences, what you guys like to eat, where you work, and I'll see you guys on the next one.